be empowered by that. Pamela is a very ijtihadic woman. She's done amazing work in her area, and I'm going to give over to her now. But I'd like to ask her a couple of questions. Instead of me telling about her, let she tell us about her. So Pamela, you're from the United States, right? Originally?
Yeah, I grew up in Boston, which is on the East Coast, the liberal coast. And I'm currently living in Ohio, which is in the middle of the country, more or less. I was raised as an atheist, and then back in the late 80s became a Muslim. So I've been Muslim about 25 years now. Well, you don't really change who you are when you become Muslim or when you embrace a particular set of beliefs. I felt that what I was accepting was very much in line with who I was, and was sort of the logical extension of me. So there wasn't any big break that I felt I needed to make with my past. And my name meant something beautiful. Pamela means all sweet, and Taylor means someone who sews, which isn't a very accurate description of me. I'm not a great tailor. Yes and no. The first prayer that Amina Wadud had there in New York was really much a shocker for a lot of people. And she got a lot of flack for it. A lot of people were criticizing her heavily. And at that point, we started laying out the ijtihad and the reasoning why we believe that it is important and why it's legal and so on and so forth. So, we had the texts from the Quran, we had the hadith, in particular, there's a hadith about Waraka, who led prayers, who was assigned to lead prayers, and who the Prophet told her, no, you can't go for battle because you're, supposed to lead the prayers at this mosque in your neighborhood. So, that was in place, and people, saw that God hadn't struck down New York City because there were prayers being led there. So I personally didn't have it. Before I actually get into that, I want to talk about how we do generally approach issues like this, especially for a lot of people who are in the queer community and are trying to deal with being a Muslim and may or may not be involved with the Muslim community. Often the approach is much more from an emotional standpoint of view, or from what I like to think of as the Fitrah point of view. I don't know how much you're aware of this term, Fitrah. Fitrah is sort of the innate essence of what it means to be a human. And the Quran talks about this, and the Hadith, the Prophet Muhammad talks about what it means to be human. And some of the basic qualities are a knowledge of and yearning for the divine, for a connectedness to something greater than ourselves. Muslims, we recognize it as God. When I was an atheist, I recognized it as being connected to the universe as a greater whole. And that I wasn't just me, an autonomous, self-contained unit, but part of this world. So that's one of the essential parts of the Fitrah. And then another essential part of the Fitrah is the ability to recognize good and evil, and that our consciences know good and evil when we see it. You see somebody kicking at a cat in the street, and oh, that's not right. You don't kick kittens. It just doesn't sit right with you. And a lot of the responses that people have to asserting their own orientation comes around this, and my support for gay people has often been in terms of, well, I just know, and then my conscience tells me that when people are in love and people share their love, then that just makes the world a better place. And this is sort of this innate recognition of what's good.